Here is what no one tells you about African billionaires ranking. They're just snapshots. They're not the full story. Because right now in Nigeria, the real wealth game is being played beyond the surface. Forbes is saying Abdul Samad is the fourth richest man in Africa. Meanwhile, Bloomberg is putting him on the second place. One is putting his fortune around $12 billion. Meanwhile, another one is putting it around $19 billion. Both they cannot be right. And that disagreement tells you something very important about how Nigerian industrial wealth is being repriced right now. Welcome to Billionaires.Africa. For you to understand this, you need to focus on what each man has built so far. Aliko Dangote built his empire on cement and sugar, then expanded into oil refining. His group is the biggest industrial conglomerate in sub-Saharan Africa. Abdul Samad Rabiu built a BUA Group, another cement and sugar empire, and he has spent the last decade quietly scaling into a serious rival. For years, Rabiu was in Dangote's shadow, and that might be changing. Here is number that explains the shift. BUA Cement shares have risen 134% in recent months, and that kind of move changes everything. In just 4 trading days after Q1 2026 results, the stock rose almost 25%, adding about 2 trillion naira, roughly $1.95 billion, to Rabiu's stake value. This is not a small repricing. This is where market suddenly takes him so serious more and more. BUA Cement's Q1 profit more than doubled to 176 billion naira. BUA Foods also posted a sharp margin improvement. Revenue fell, but the profit still rose. That tells you management is squeezing more value out of every naira. And then comes Femi Otedola, the first holdco. The parent of the first bank reported a strong Q1 numbers, and the stock jumped 10% in a single session, and that created $36.5 million in paper gains for Otedola in one day. But this wasn't just luck. This was a result of a long turnaround story. First Bank was once seen as one of the weakest Tier 1 lenders in Nigeria. Otedola stepped in and took the control and spent the last couple years cleaning it up, and now the market is starting to notice. The deeper issue is that Billionaire ranking only captures the part of the picture. They track listed assets. They don't fully capture private companies, land, offshore holdings, or complex ownership structures. So the real gap between Dangote and Rabiu and Otedola may be different from what public rankings suggest. And that means Africa's wealth map is more complicated than the headlines. And that tells you something. Africa's wealth map is very complicated than the headlines. Nigeria's billionaire class is getting more sophisticated, more strategic, and very hard to measure. Rabiu's surge, Otedola banking play, Dangote's industrial dominance. These are not just random stories. They are calculated moves from men who understand how capital actually works. I'll see you in the next one.